This video is going to help you construct strong and purposeful thesis statements for your essays. First, let's discuss the importance and the purpose of a thesis statement in an essay. A thesis statement tells the reader the subject of the paper and the importance of that subject. It also works as a roadmap. It lets the reader know what's coming and the order in which they should expect it. All papers, all thesis statements need to make some type of claim that others can dispute. There are 4 elements that make up a strong thesis statement. First, a strong thesis statement must be concise. You should be making a succinct point by focusing on the subject at hand. You don't want to stray from your point. You want to be concise and purposeful. Secondly, it needs to be specific. Your thesis statement should state a fixed idea or ideas that outline exactly what the paper is going to say. Third, your thesis statement needs to be clear. It needs to be understandable and coherent. The reader shouldn't be confused in these first few sentences. It should be very clear what your paper is about. And lastly, your thesis statement needs to be original. It should demonstrate an idea or ideas that are not stale, boring, or overused. You want to discuss topics to which you can contribute new ideas, new thoughts, or a new direction. There are some myths about thesis statements that you've probably been taught, but at a college level, we expect a little bit more. So let's talk about the myths that are behind some thesis statements. Our first myth: where does a thesis statement go? I'm sure you've been told that a thesis statement must be the last sentence of the first paragraph. While that is a great place for it, it is a myth that it must go there. As a matter of fact, a thesis statement can go anywhere in your first 2 paragraphs, as long as, number 1, it is not the first sentence of your essay, and number 2, it is not after you have begun the body paragraphs of your essay. So if your introduction needs to be 2 paragraphs long, that's fine. It just needs to go somewhere in those first 2 paragraphs. Our second myth: how long does a thesis statement need to be? I'm sure you've been told a thesis statement must only be 1 sentence long. While it is true that if a 1-sentence thesis statement is sufficient, you need to remember that a thesis statement is a short summary of your entire paper. The longer your paper, the longer your thesis statement really should be. And sometimes that summary can't be accomplished in just 1 sentence. You need to break down your thesis statement into 2 well-written sentences, or even 3 is sometimes the best solution to helping not have run-on sentences. If you decide to follow this new fact and write a thesis statement that is more than 1 sentence long, you need to make sure you keep those 2 to 3 sentences all together in the same place in your introduction. Myth number 3. A strong thesis statement will include the major points in your essay, including 3 to 4 points. While it is true that a strong thesis statement needs to include all the points of your essay, you only need to include the major points. And sometimes your paper doesn't have 3, 4, or 5 points. Sometimes you've made your point clear in your essay with just 2. Sometimes you have 8. So the amount of points that your essay makes is your choice in this class. Regardless of that number, your thesis statement will encompass as many points as you make in that essay. So you need to make sure that you've covered all of your points. Don't just stick with the 3. We want to write a strong thesis statement. In order to do that, we need to look at the 3 types of thesis statements that you need to avoid. First, you need to avoid what I call the announcement thesis statement. That's where you announce what you're going to do in the paper. You will see we have a weak thesis statement here. In this paper, I will discuss the difference between running and walking. That is a very weak thesis statement. I do not need to know in this paper. I will. That's an announcement. We don't do that. To write that thesis statement a little bit stronger, you may say something like, there are many benefits of exercising through walking or running. That's stronger. I know you're going to talk about the benefits of exercising through walking and running. You are not announcing what you are doing in the paper. To make that thesis statement even stronger, you may say something like this. Running and walking are beneficial forms of exercise because they improve cardiovascular fitness, combat depression, and aid in weight loss. You will see there is no announcement talking about what this paper will do, what it will accomplish, or what I will say. The second type of thesis statement mistake that you want to avoid is what I call the vague plague. That's where you are not very clear in what you are writing about and you're pretty vague in what you're trying to convey. An example of a vague plague thesis statement would be, vaping is wrong, harmful, and should be stopped. You're not telling the reader what it is you're going to say. You're just saying vaping's wrong. Well, kind of everybody already kind of knows that. So how can we make it stronger? A strong thesis statement would say, because vaping is harmful to everyone, a ban should be placed for the action in all public places. That's stronger. I now know what it is that you're covering in the paper. You're going to talk about the harmful effects of vaping and that it should be banned in public places. But you can write that even stronger by saying something along the lines of this. Since vaping is harmful to the user and those in the immediate area, it should be banned in public places because it leads to lung cancer, skin conditions, and addiction. So you will see it is much stronger because it's not vague at all. We know what the argument is in the paper, that vaping is harmful and it should be stopped and banned, and the reasons why you're going to cover that. The last type of thesis statement that you want to avoid is what I call the hear ye, hear ye. The hear ye thesis statement is when the writer is giving more of a definition than actually making some type of claim or telling us what the paper is about. Here's an example of a hear ye thesis statement. The pink tax is a term used to describe products marketed towards women that are priced higher than those targeted towards men. That's just a definition of what the pink tax is. You're just saying, hear ye, this is what the pink tax is. It's not a thesis statement. I don't know what you're trying to accomplish. So to make that a more strong one, I might say, the pink tax on all items should be abolished for a multitude of reasons. That's better because now I know that you're going to write about how we should abolish the pink tax. But I need to make it stronger, correct? I need to have in there the items that I'm going to cover, the points that I'm going to make. So a much stronger and much better thesis statement would be, the pink tax should be abolished because it is a form of discrimination against women. It perpetuates gender marketing at an early age, and it places socioeconomic minorities at a financial disadvantage. Much stronger. Tells us exactly what the claim is and the 3 points that you're going to make. The assignment for this video, it has 2 parts. Part 1, you are going to read the student example provided in the assignment and then do the following. You're going to identify the current thesis statement in the essay and you're going to copy it down. Number 2, you're going to identify which type of weak thesis statement it is. Is it an announcement, the vague plague, or the hear ye, hear ye? And then number 3, you're going to rewrite a thesis statement to make it as strong as possible following the points that have been given in this video. Part 2 of your assignment is you're going to review your current essay in the course and you're going to do the following. Number 1, you're going to identify your current thesis in your paper. You're going to copy it down for me. Number 2, you're going to identify what problems there are with your thesis statement using the slides in this video. Did you fall into the announcement, the vague plague, or the hear ye, hear ye? Maybe you followed one of the myths. Maybe you don't have enough points. Tell me what's wrong with your thesis statement. And number 3, you're going to rewrite the strongest thesis statement possible and include it in this assignment. And then, of course, you want to be sure you go back into your essay and you write the new thesis statement before you submit your final essay in this class.